Hello and welcome to the Bothering Strangers podcast with Max Hearing. I'm Max Hearing, and my guest today is a super interesting dude who I came across literally 3 days ago when I was subbing at a high school in Garden Grove, and there's a motivational speaker, and I was not excited, as I was telling you, Dee, I was not excited about this motivational speaker, but I was so happy that I actually went to that assembly instead. My guest today is motivational speaker Dee Hankins. Dee, how are you?
I'm doing great, Max. Thank you so much for having me, Brody.
Thank you for coming on. So you are a motivational speaker, and I forgot to tell you this, but when you subbed at the high school in Garden Grove on Friday, or when I subbed, and when you came to do the assembly, I spoke to the kids afterwards, and they were also not looking forward to a guest, but they loved you.
That's awesome.
It just something hit with them, but that's enough about my life, though. That's enough. So motivational speaker, you've been doing it for a little while. How do you come across them? How do you feel qualified too, also to do that?
Man, it's weird. It's actually a really funny, crazy story. I actually went to school to be a lawyer, and who I now call dad, my pseudo dad, my best friend's dad. I guess I have to tell the beginning of the story for it to make sense. It's like one of those things where you can't jump in the middle. Anyway, I was raised in foster care. In my last foster home, my parents moved to a 55 and older community. And one day, I was locked out the gate. You can't have kids there, basically. It's 55 and older. I was locked out the gate one day and I hopped over the fence. And I guess the management replayed the tape and went to my parents, was just like, yo, you can't have kids here. Y'all got to go. So I was in college at the time, or going to college at the time. And, my parents were just like, hey, you got to bounce, man. This is where we live. You got to find somewhere. So I lived on campus, but during the winter and summer breaks, I had no place to stay. So I hit up one of my best friends. And I said, hey, man, can I live with you guys during the summer and the winter and things like that? I'll sleep on the couch. I'm like, maybe the government will give you money or, whatever. I didn't know how it worked. And he was like, well, let me ask my dad. And when he asked his dad, he was like, whoa, D, man, what's happening? This is a lot. Explain this to me. So I explained to him my situation. And he was like, man, absolutely. So he opened his home to me and things like that. And since that day, he asked more and more about my story, and I was able to tell him. Now, he was able to see something that I never saw as a kid. As a kid, I was always center of attention, never afraid of the camera. If someone was just like, all right, we need a team captain, I was always the person that's just like, yeah, me. Naturally, I would just motivate people. I remember one time in high school, we were on freshman year, we were on a 7-game losing streak. And just naturally, man, I called everybody into the gym and was just like, yo, we got to do better. It's just like that natural leadership role. But he saw that in me. So one day he kind of, took me to the side and was like, yo, D, you have this talent, man, for speaking. And if you can take that and couple it with your story, you can really change some lives, as an inspirational speaker, motivational speaker. And I'm like, I'm good. What the heck is a motivational speaker? You never really, when you're young like that, you're like, people get paid to speak. That's ridiculous, But I already have my mindset, and once I get my mindset, it's a done deal. So I'm like, nah, I'm going to school to be a lawyer, So he never pressured me or anything like that. But every now and then he would like, hey, D, if you take your talent and your story and you smash those together, you could really do some good. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Right. So long story short, I, took my took my LSAT test, and I was on my way to get into school. I got a pretty good score. I wanted to go to UCLA. It wasn't good enough to go to UCLA, but it was good enough to go somewhere, where I could use my talents. And that was also during the same time that my daughter was going through her battle with cancer. So anyway, One day, my dad, he says enough is enough, you know, and in the morning, where it's early in the morning on like some random Wednesday, you know, I don't know, some random day. And my best friend's dad, his name is Ricky, and his dad's name is Richard Parkhouse, right? And he's this older white dude, bald, you know, we're completely opposite, you know. So one day he says, yo, D, I want you to come with me today. And I'm like, cool. I trust him with my life. So I wasn't asking any questions. Where are we going? Like, yada, yada. It is what it is. So we hop in his Suburban at the time, right? And we're driving. This is a true story, man. We're driving. Next thing you know, we get to like the desert, right? And we're driving deeper into the desert. You know, we're driving. And this is like real talk, man. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I've seen this movie before. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen this movie before. This is not happening.
How scared are you? How scared are you? You're like, I thought I knew this guy.
From a scale from 1 to 10, and I'm being so realistic, from scale from 1 to 10, I'm at like an 8.
Ooh, that's fear.
Yeah, like I'm at like an 8. Like, you know, I may have to kill this dude. Like, real talk. You know what I'm saying? I may have to murk this dude before he murks me. Straight up. So,
gotta give him the business real quick.
For real. So like I'm driving and we're like deep into the desert, right? And I'm starting to think like, all right, how am I gonna do this? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm looking at escape routes and trying to like whatever. Next thing you know, we pull up to this school, like it's a little middle school in the middle of the desert, right? And he starts taking out his bags and stuff like that. And you know, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We out of school, you know, and I'm back at a 1, you know, I'm back at a 1. So it's a middle school conference that he happens to be speaking at. So he comes, he's like, oh, I just want you to, you know, I want you to experience this, you know, and check it out. So he gets on stage, he does this thing, and out of nowhere, you know, he has about, you know, 15 minutes left. Out of nowhere, he says, that's it for me. I want to introduce you all to someone really special to me. He's been through a lot, and I want him to share a little bit of his story with you. So I want everybody to give a round of applause to Dee Hankins. I'm in the back, like chilling, you know, just watching him. And then I hear that and I'm like, yo, what? And so this is a true story, man. We're crossing paths. You know, I'm walking up, he's walking down, and he gives me the mic and he says, you have 10 minutes.
Woo.
Right? That was it. That's all he said. Give me the mic and say, you have 10 minutes. And it's crazy because when I tell this story, you know, you hear these stories of like supernatural things happening or people feeling a certain way, or, you know, if you're religious, you know, people say, oh, I had a, you know, God-like experience or angelic experience or whatever, you know. I swear, man, when I grabbed that mic, it felt like, you know, if I could describe it, is, you know, it's like grabbing Excalibur, you know, and you just feel like power just kind of rolls through you. And so I grabbed that mic, and I don't know what I said that day, but I know I said it in 10 minutes, and you see students crying and standing ovations and things like that. And I was like, wow, that was pretty amazing. But the real kicker was this. Everybody went to their next session. Okay. This is 10 minutes, bro. Everyone went to their next session. There was this little girl. I'll never forget this little girl who waited until everyone left. Right. She walked up to me and she had this note, this little piece of paper, you know what I'm saying? All folded up, crumbled up, all wet with tears and yada, yada. And she gave it to me. She didn't even have words. She just gave it to me and like had this, like, I just want to thank you type face, and just walked away. Right. I've never gotten this before. So I put it in my pocket, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing cleaning up, rolling with my dad, helping him fix up his stuff. We get back home. I'm going about my day. And then I remember, oh, shoot, I have that thing in my pocket, right? And I open it up and it says, Dear Dee, this was the note I was going to give to my parents. And it was her suicide note.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Dear Mom, dear Dad, I love you so much. I just can't do this anymore. Please forgive me. You know, like it was crazy. And then at the bottom of that, she said, you saved my life. And after that, I knew I was on to something, man. So after that, like literally, I start telling people I want to be an inspirational speaker. My dad put me into schools. He put me in places to kind of meet people and just do my thing. And I craft my story and work on my story, and boom, man. So here we are.
Can I also say that since like I do stand-up comedy, and when if you were to like I see people open mics that go up there, they're thinking this is planning. They think it's going to be easy, but they don't come with material. Man, those 5 minutes that they have on stage feels like 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that you just got up there, like people say, "Oh, it's 5 minutes." Oh, it's sometimes like no. When you're on stage, that 5 minutes can feel so much longer than real life. So the fact that you could just get up on stage and just kind of talk and say whatever you have to say in that 10 minutes, it's like out of this world. It's otherworldly.
Thank you, man. Yeah, and I believe that. I believe people have natural gifts and things feel natural to them. I was watching YouTube the other day. There's this guy, I don't know his name. I think it's like, I don't know his name. Anyway, he's for Halloween, he wore this. You got to look it up. It's really dope. He wore this like Michael Myers mask, and he's on Omegle, right? And he goes, request any song. And somebody will say, I don't know, Peaches by Justin Bieber, something like that.
Good song.
Yeah, right. That's a really dope song.
It's a great song, yeah.
Yeah, it is. And he'll grab his phone, he'll listen to it for literally a minute, maybe, or the edited version is a minute, no more than 5 minutes. Put his phone down and start playing it.
Yeah. I've seen someone else do it.
It's crazy, man. So, I believe people have just natural God-given talents, and speaking just happens to be mine, you know what I'm saying? Or at least the ability to assess a situation and find the positive in it, find the silver lining in it. Cause that's pretty much how I live my life. Negative things happen. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes life sucks. I get it. We got depression. We get anxiety. People pass away tragically, accidentally. You know what I'm saying? Things happen. Life happens. And those situations can always be used for good. Those feelings that we have, whether good or bad, can always be used for good. And I've always lived that way. And growing up in foster care, emphasize that more, to where you have to live that way. There were times where as a kid, you think, man, this is going to be my life. And I often reflect on that, standing in the middle of, or walking across, Inglewood Boulevard, Crenshaw, seeing planes fly above your head, 6,000 feet above your head or whatever. And you're sitting there, you're thinking, man, this is just going to be my life. Living in the ghetto, struggling to survive. And then 20 years later, because you kept going, because you kept, pushing forward, because you kept focusing on your resilience, the same people. And this is how I see it. Like, I was in school. I was bad. Like, I'm gonna be real. I had problems, and the same teachers and the same school systems that were just like, hey, you're not going to amount to anything, or you're headed down a troublesome path, you're going to end up in jail, are the same people that now have to write me a check to tell me to come speak to their school. That's crazy.
The turntables, man. That's like, man. Ooh, wow. Yeah. I mean, do you reflect on your life now or lately? And you're like,
all the time.
And you're like, what happened? How did this? It's because it's like the old. I'm only 24, but I even have these moments every once in a while where I like think like, how did I get here? And it's like these little moments, like really, you never know what little moment has like this large impact, and then these large moments often have a little impact.
Yeah, it's the little things, man, and that's when I do reflect on my life and I do think about those things, it further cements, my faith in God. Because I know for a fact, I didn't get here by myself. Think about it. Like, think about, I was in 12 different foster homes, right? In 2 different group homes. My last foster home just happened to be in Walnut, California. Just happened to land in Walnut, California. My parents at that time, or my foster parents at that time, happened to be old enough to go into a 55 and older community, right? Walnut, California just happened to be the place where, one of my best friends, Ricky, my brother now, used to live. We didn't know each other. When I moved there, I had no clue. I met him my sophomore year, but it just happened to be at Walnut High School, and who would have known that his dad and his mom and his family would open their doors for me, and that his dad would happen to be in education and be a speaker, and me end up in that home. And now I speak. Like, come on, man, you can't make that stuff up. Like, when people talk about happenstance and things like that, like, I respect it, but I'm like, yo, come on. I could have ended up anywhere else, but I just happened to land in Walnut, California. And because I landed in Walnut, California, I'm now a nationally acclaimed inspirational speaker.
Yeah, I mean, like on your website, it says like half of Black males in the foster care system don't even graduate high school. You graduated college.
Facts.
Like, so much less could have happened, and it still would have been like, wow, this is insanity.
Yeah. And so I just feel like I have to share that, when I graduated college, I remember the day too, man, like graduating. I say this all the time. I love my children, right? I love my children. I put my college graduation here and like my kids right here, just because
the kids are a little lower,
just a little bit lower, only because you can always have children, you know what I'm saying? But look at what it took to not only graduate college, but to get to college.
Yeah.
It's a hurdle for foster youth in general to get to college. It's more of a hurdle for Black foster males to get to college. Not only get to college, but to graduate college. You know what I'm saying? Like, statistically,
yeah,
I am 10 times more likely to end up in prison, not jail, prison, than to ever step foot on a college campus. College was easy to get into. Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? You pass. What person is going to say, no, don't give me $20,000 a year? You know what I'm saying? Like, college is easy to get into.
Yeah.
Prison is not easy to get into. Prison is very difficult to get into. As a criminal justice major, it's hard to get into, but 10 times more likely to end up in prison than college. That's bananas to me, man.
Do you look at the foster care system now? Well, like, do you look at it and like, are there changes that like, are you trying to make changes to it? Or are you trying to like somehow work with like the government of California or something like that to like be like, all right, so like there's a lot of things wrong. Let's try to fix them.
Oh yeah. We often go to the Capitol, different groups that I'm involved in, and go to the Capitol and say, look, man, this is what's happening. Cause I see it in both education and I see it in foster care. The decision makers have never been there.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? Education, especially, like how many rules and policies are being made by people who have never been teachers ever? How many rules and policies are made in foster care and child welfare for people who have never been social workers, to people who have never been in foster care, to have people who have never seen what it's like to go through that system, to lose both of your parents, to be in the system, to go from home to home to home to home to home, to live on the streets, to be in a home where people are supposed to love you and care for you and take you in, but then they abuse and molest you. And then you run away, and then you're getting arrested as a transient, as a runaway, right? You're getting because you're breaking curfew because you don't want to go home and get molested by your foster dad. Like, and there's rules, there's policies like that. You have to go back to your this and that, or in some communities where parents have to work 3 jobs in order to survive. So sometimes their kid has to stay home by themselves because your boss is not going to say, yeah, bring your kids to work for sure. I understand your situation, right? And there's policies that say, well, you left your kid here for X amount of hours. We got to take them away, So it's tough, man. A lot of it just has to do with people's lack of empathy. It's not necessarily a government thing. It's just a people thing, you know? I've witnessed this as a speaker. One of the blessings of being a speaker is being able to travel to different parts of the country and just different areas. And you really start to see how people live. You see the good in humanity, and you see the real, I want to say shitty. Can I say shitty? Is that
you can say whatever you want to say.
Cool. And the real shitty parts about people. And there's a lack of empathy, right? Like, I'll give you an example. I went to Alabama in like 2000 and maybe 9 or something like that to do tornado relief. And I live in California.
Happens a lot out there.
Yeah. We don't have tornadoes. And you hear about them and you go, damn, that sucks. Or you say, well, you know, there's a place called Tornado Alley. Why would you buy your house in Tornado Alley? You know what I'm saying? And not expect, you know, a tornado to come in and destroy your home. Right. And I used to think that way. Like, hey, you want to sit and complain that your house got blown away by a tornado because you built your house in Tornado Alley. Like, what did you expect? Until I actually went down to Alabama. You know, some people don't have a choice. Yeah. Right. You're going to this for you. This is where you can afford. You're going to buy this home. You know what I'm saying? But the thing that really struck me was there was like tornadoes are weird, right? Tornadoes are super crazy. They'll destroy a whole block completely. And one house will be in mint condition, like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, it's a whole different kind of natural occurrence.
Bananas is bananas. We went to this house and we're driving down the street and we're looking at all these houses. Some of them completely gone. It's just studs, just cement studs. And that's it. And wood and debris all over the place.
Yeah.
So there's this one block. Every house on the street was demolished except for one. No damage, right? There's another block where there's this house, the whole front of the house gone. In the back of the house is where they ate dinner, right? And the dining room table looked like nobody touched it. Plates still in order, forks and knives still all good. The dining cabinet was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. It was bananas, right? But the thing was, everyone in that community, we talked to this one guy whose house we are specifically working on. And I was just like, bro, like, man, your house is not here. We're literally building it from scratch. And he just looked at me and said, well, we'll do it together. He wasn't like, oh my gosh, my insurance is gonna, da-da. Oh, I can't believe it. Not only was he helping his house, but he was building other people's houses too while working on his own house. And that changed something in me. You know what I'm saying? And it made me see, like, you have to go see people. You have to hang with people, you know, and we can get into like racism and all that other stuff. But if you don't go and hang with people, what you hear from outside is going to become true to you because you don't know. Like, and that's why I say we live in the ghetto. No, you live in Garden Grove. You live in Orange County. You don't live in the ghetto because you've never been to the ghetto. But if you take kids to the ghetto where and Skid Row, where they're really living in tents and you know, whatever, you get a different perspective. You walk into your 1-bedroom house like, yo, maybe I got it good, you know? And so I just, man, you know, I just try to do that. I try to hang around people before I judge them. I try to have a little bit more empathy because I lived through foster care. You know, I've seen great foster parents where a kid moved one time and were immediately adopted and they thrived and their parents were beautiful and it was just great. And I've seen the horror stories, you know, the other side where kids are getting abused and you know, people just do it for a paycheck and so on and so forth. So I have to go to the Capitol. I have to keep it real with them and say, look, this is what's really going on, despite what you think, because you can skew statistics, right? And easily. And to them, sometimes 50, they look at it differently. 50% of foster students, especially African-American, drop out of high school. They flip it around. Well, 50% stay in school, and it's just like, nah, 50% drop out of school. Like
it's not a glass half full, glass half empty conversation. It's a glass half empty conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Some person posted something that was kind of eye-opening to me. It was about COVID, right? And it said something in regards to 772 kids over the course of the coronavirus pandemic have died, which statistically is 0.0 something.
It's not
right. But he says it's not 0.0 something. It's 772 kids have died. But it's easy to, like I said, when you're human, you look back and you go, it wasn't my kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy to go statistics. You can go 0.01, 0.1, point whatever.
It's a great point, because I was just like, I would say reading a book, but I was not. I was listening to it on Audible because I don't read books.
Facts.
It's
same here.
In time, I will start reading books, but right now I will keep on listening to them. It's a book called Jews Don't Count, whatever. Just a book about anti-Semitism in the modern world, mainly in the UK. And the author, who's also Jewish, and I'm Jewish, was talking about just what you were saying. Basically, he's like, these are the stats. He's like, let's not even talk about the stats, though, because we can't relate to stats. He's like, these are literal incidences of anti-Semitism that happened. Hits so much harder when you do that. But I would say, even you say 772, what if it's one and that's your son?
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter how many it is. That's your son.
Absolutely. And I think that's what they lack. That's what they lack in the capital. That's what we lack in government. That's what we lack in leadership. We don't see it as one. And, that's why when I get on stage, I keep it real like that. I keep it 100% like that. I don't only hold, students accountable. I hold teachers accountable as well. Because, when you're in a classroom, those 30 students, first period, they're your kids. And I tell teachers all the time, especially when they bring me in for like PBIS and, we got this kid who's always causing trouble, yada, yada. I'm like, okay, as a mom, as a dad, let me run you through this scenario. Your kid comes to school, hoodie up, head down in the back of the class, out of their element. Are you going to be like, hey, Allie, come pay attention. Allie, oh, you're not listening. You know what, Allie? Go to the office. Or more realistically, are you going to continue to do what you got to do? And after class, approach your daughter and say, what's wrong? What's happening? What's going on?
Right.
That's realistic, right? As a person, are you going to do those things? And we it's funny because we think about this all the time. You know what I'm saying? We have association. So when you're associated with somebody, it's okay. I think about this all the time. Like, I'm really good friends with my neighbor downstairs. And I'm thinking, like, if one day I was in a rush or she was in a rush and, we're turning in at the same time and sideswiped each other, would we be like, yo, you mother, beep, 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 or would we be like, damn, like, my bad, like, imagine if everybody treated each other that way.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Right. But instead we let people we know get away with things that people we don't know wouldn't get away with. Right. And if you live long enough and you just think about how you act towards certain people, or you listen to because all this, I guess, knowledge or wisdom, I get over time from people. I was in one foster home where I'm driving. And my foster sister at that time had this little green 97 Honda Civic, right? And we're going down the freeway. And all of a sudden, this car cuts her off, takes off. And I'm like, yo, why aren't you like, you know?
Yeah.
And she says, she said something that got me. She said, what if that person just got a call from their neighbor, say your house is on fire?
Ooh.
Or what if that person, wife can't make is delivering, couldn't make it to the hospital? What if? Like, you never know. Are some people dicks? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. You know what I'm saying? But how do you know? Right? And then also, how would you react? Like, Max, let's be real. You know what I'm saying? We're on this podcast together. You get a text from your mom or your dad that says, yo, hey, your sister had a terrible accident. Are you going to be like, hey, D, man, let's finish this up? Or are you going to be like, yo, hey, D, I'm sorry, bro. I got to go. You know what I'm saying? It's like something came up. I got to go.
We're ending this quickly.
Yeah. I might be like, damn, that was rude. Like, this and that. Because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But once I get the story, or if I give the benefit of the doubt, we're good. Oh, I understand, dude. It's an emergency. Because guess what? I do the exact same thing.
Yeah. I had a moment like this last week, basically, like on the basketball court. Older dude, but not old, but 40, meaning like things hurt in his body, like threatened to hit me because of some way I played, basically, that I didn't even recognize. And it was like in that moment, and I stewed for the next 24 hours, just this guy, like, because I know that I'm like, man, like I would have, and we got into it, like we had like a war of words, like I'm an adult, I'm not gonna back down, he's an adult. Probably would have lost the fight if it happened though, and just being honest, but I'm sitting next 24 hours, like, oh, this guy, like, oh man, like I would have knocked his ass out, like all that, and I don't know what's going on. I mean, my bet is something's going on at home. That's my bet, just because like you don't typically, as a 40-year-old man, go up to kids, like adults in their 20s, like, I'm gonna hit you. You don't do that, but my bet is like something's going on. But either way, like I was just in that moment, I was heated.
Yeah, man. I mean, who wouldn't react that way?
I still don't like the dude. I'll be honest. I still like him. He still makes little jab comments to me, but I'm better.
Hey, anything on the court, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta back it up. I didn't know you hooped. You hoop.
I hoop.
Okay.
I should be honestly. I should be much better for how much I do hoop. how's that for an answer?
I'm with that. I respect that, man.
Yeah, those kids in Garden Grove though, they don't hoop, man.
It's funny because I have a part of my program for like giving back to the community is I try not to do typical stuff. I try to make it fun. I try to make it me. So every school that I get a chance to speak at, I offer them the opportunity to do something for either their students or their community based on their needs. I call it a school-lebrity basketball game. So me and my boys get together and, we play against students and teachers, and admission could be whatever the students need. So if they have a, large free and reduced lunch population, maybe they bring in canned foods. Maybe if it's the winter or Christmas time, they bring in used toys or lightly used toys or lightly worn clothes or brand new toys. Yeah. And that's the admission to the game. Or if everything is all good, like Irvine or something like that.
I am in Irvine, yeah.
Right. Then if they do get tickets or buy tickets or whatever, then a portion of that is a scholarship for an excelling foster youth, right? So we hoop, we invite parents and everybody to go watch, and then it's just a good game, man. So that's one of the ways I give back to the community. I try to make it fun. I try to make it realistic. And then I want students to know that, yeah, I'm an inspirational speaker. I love my job. I love what I do, but I'm also human, and you're going to catch me in and out just like anybody else. I don't have
what can we, sorry, you mentioned in that a couple of times when you spoke at the school, what is, and I like In-N-Out. I'm a fan. What is it with you and In-N-Out though? Let's talk about that for a second.
You know what? I think it's because this is probably counter, intuitive to what I'm saying. I like In-N-Out. I don't think it's worth me waiting in the car for 20 minutes.
That's why you go inside. It's always faster if you go inside. Yeah, that's what people don't know.
That is true. So I feel like people like In-N-Out is one of those things that people just relate to. Like you're gonna relate to In-N-Out no matter what.
Yeah, I think in California, I think when we look at California, we're like, oh, In-N-Out. I think it started in California, but it's the quintessential California chain.
Yes. When I go other places like Georgia or whatever, it's Whataburger. Or Waffle House, those are my references.
I cannot go back to Waffle House. many bad trips. It's great in the moment. I will be on. It is great in the moment. Afterwards, I am not happy with myself.
Yeah, for sure.
But for you, it's In-N-Out though.
For me, it's In-N-Out, man. For me, it's In-N-Out. That's my go-to. I think over time it'll start changing to Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A is like starting to. Chick-fil-A's always been there, but it's never been like the staple, like In-N-Out. But I think it's starting to take that spot,
It's I'll say this about Chick-fil-A, and if anyone's listening, I guarantee, call me out on this if you disagree. Best fast food shakes in the game at Chick-fil-A. Fast food specifically. Yeah.
We're not talking about. Yeah. We're not talking about, like a Five Guys where, they got to make it and it takes 10 minutes.
No. We're talking about the machine Chick-fil-A. One still, but but like that cookies and cream. Well, that's the best flavor. Obviously shake. Like it is this is not a joke. Me and my dad, I live in their house. Like he's like 10 feet away from me now. We talk about this shake like once a week, every week.
Chick-fil-A shakes are bomb. And I was talking to this with my fiance the other day. She is very trend. I call her a trend hater, right?
So there's no way. There's no way. The thing that my dad is too, but not with shakes.
Right? Trend hater. Like that's just who she is.
It happens.
And babe, if you're listening to this, this is all facts. Like it could be a brand new restaurant that opened up and everybody's raving about it, and she'll go and be like, yeah. And one of my best friends is like that too. His name's Jonathan. He's like, we could be talking about celebrities, we'd be like, oh man, this celebrity is just gorgeous. Rihanna, Beyonce.
Yeah.
He'll be like, she cool. Yeah, she cool. She all right. And that's what they are. So with Chick-fil-A, we were just talking about restaurants and she was kind of doing her, it's okay. Yeah, this and that. But I do agree with her on one thing.
Okay. Ooh.
Chick-fil-A's food, it's not out of this world. Like, oh my gosh, I have to have Chick-fil-A every day, except for those waffle fries.
No, I was actually sometimes they're not. It really depends on the batch you get.
Anytime that I've been to Chick-fil-A, them waffle fries are hidden straight up.
And their sauces are great. It's also because of sauces, yeah.
But because their food is amazing, but it's not off the wall. I got to eat it every day. However,
no.
Their customer service.
Oh my God.
Makes the food that much better.
Yes.
Facts.
This is what they must be getting paid well for their industry. Cause I don't know how I could never, and this is a flaw of mine, I suppose you could put it. I don't know if you could, I could never have that good customer service. I could never do that in my life. Not once. I think I'd be like, my pleasure. And then I'd be like, okay, that's enough. And then I'm just quit right there. Like,
I don't know what they do, but hey, and for y'all watching or listening in, this is not sponsored by Chick-fil-A at all.
It should be though. It could be. Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to them after this episode and be like, yo, we hyped up your customer service.
Straight up. Chick-fil-A's customer service is I don't know a better place. Outside of Disneyland, I don't know a better place for customer service at a fast food restaurant.
Yeah,
that deals with rude customers all the time. Like
a lot of customers.
And it doesn't it doesn't matter how many cars go through that day, how long they've been at work.
What can I get you?
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Oh my gosh, man. I love Chick-fil-A, dude. And for that reason, their food is good. For that reason, like I can eat my fries comfortably. Like if I go to McDonald's and their customer service
It was worse though too.
It's shitty, yeah. And then I get a bad batch of fries, I'm in a bad mood.
Oh, wait. So first of all, I was gonna say what your wife, fiance is she's a contrarian because not only does my dad do that, but I know people who do that. So if you want to phrase this, and you could call her this, she would be a contrarian.
Contrarian, okay.
Because it's like everything's on the contrary. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, honestly, I don't know if you do this, but so I exercise 5-6 days a week. And this is not me bragging. This is me saying I do it so I can eat poorly. it's like one, mental health, and two, it's like so I can get that Chipotle afterwards and feel fine about it,
Right.
which is also mental health, I suppose, but still. And man, like if at dinner, oftentimes if I know I'm going out to get dinner somewhere, fast food or not, I'll eat less during the day. So I really need it to be a good meal.
Yeah.
And if it's not, I'm mad.
Yeah.
Like, are you also like it's a flaw we both have, but like it's what it is, it is what it is.
Your food is a reward, especially if you're into fitness. Same thing. I work out, 5 to 6 times a week. I hoop, 3 to 4, sometimes 5 times a week.
Oh, good for you. So
food is a reward. You know what I'm saying? If I put something in my mouth after a long day, after I know I've spent my days counting calories, like, I'm at that point right now, counting macros and things like that. Like at the end of the day, I need it to hit. If I'm going to take a cheat meal or a cheat day, it needs to hit. And if it don't hit, like you feel like you wasted your week,
What, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
34.
34. Okay. So you're at the point where like, I'm betting things are kind of starting to hurt a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Things fall apart. I wake up and it's just like, why does my big toe hurt? Straight up. Straight up.
Oh, that's hilarious. So I'm 24 and I know I'm on the young end. Things are hurting now. They're starting to hurt. Like I cannot play basketball 5 days a week. I can, but it would not be a strong decision. I need at least one day in between. I played flag football at the beach 2 days ago. Whew, that was a mistake because your ankles do not respond well to that.
No,
but I guess, and even when I lift, like I tell people this all the time. I'm like, I could lift higher weights, but I don't because there's a real chance of me hurting myself.
Facts.
So I'm all toning now, and not because I like care for toning. It's pure just like it's my only option.
I went to the gym. I think this was last year. Actually, this might have been 2019. I think I went to the gym like I always go. And 2019, I was 32. So,
different times,
it's a different time. And I got an ego. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be the dude that stretches before he goes.
Oh, I stretched twice. I stretched before and after.
I don't want to be that dude, because I was an athlete throughout high school, throughout college. I was an athlete, man.
Right,
so, it is what it is. So I go and do some deadlift. It's back in whatever day.
Tough.
So,
that's a hard one.
Yeah. I'm doing some deadlifts, you know what I'm saying? And like I feel this like nothing crazy, just in my back, like my lower back. And I'm like, okay, we're good, kind of just, do that.
Stretch it out a little bit.
Yeah, feel, whatever. And this is lightweight. I'm talking super lightweight, maybe 85, 95 pounds.
Yeah, pretty low.
So I'm going through my sets, adding more weight. So I get to my last set, and I go to do my deadlift. I'm like, oh, dang, man, like, yo, that one really hurt. Whatever, but I'm not a quitter.
But you should be in this situation. You should be a quitter
in this situation. I should have quit.
Yeah. Should be like, I'm done. I'm good.
But I didn't. So here I go. I'm doing it again. I get through 2. I get through 3. By the time I get to 5, I'm like, all right, yeah, something's wrong. Like something's wrong, whatever. So next thing you know, no lie, I'm on the ground
Oh
on the
no.
mats by the mirror for about an hour, almost to the point where I'm about to call 911.
But you need an ambulance to take. You need to get to the hospital.
Yeah, I could not move without this searing pain in my lower back,
Were
like
people not
searing
helping
pain.
you? You're on the ground. Was nobody with you?
Well, I'm in this like ab position, so I'm like just kind of there, and I'm realizing I can't move. So I waited out, you know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth. So it's about an hour. People are walking by. They're like, "Are you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Oh,
good."
the ego's still there.
The ego's still there, right? I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good." You know. And then I'm thinking like, "Yo, I think I gotta call someone." And then so one more time I try to like roll over. I got enough strength and feeling back to kind of roll over. I grab my bag, I get up, I'm gingerly walking out the door. I make it to my car barely, right? And I drive to my house. I live on the second story.
Oh God, that walk up the stairs.
Oh, so I put my foot on the first step. I can't do it. Like physically can't do it. So I get back into my car. I call my then girlfriend. I'm like, "Yo, I need help. I need help." I drive to her house. She helps me, like literally, like tries to carry me up the stairs. I'm down on the ground, like she's stretching, not stretching me out, but she's like trying to massage my lower back, like all this stuff. And I'm done. Like I can't move for about a good 2-3 hours. You know, the next day I'm a little better. I can walk. It hurts, but I can walk. I go to the doctor about 2 days later, and I say, "Yeah, man, I'm just deadlifting like super lightweight. All of a sudden, I feel this like little pinch in my back. I'm thinking like sciatic nerve or something like that."
Oh no,
So
no
he
way.
does this test. We do a physical. I tore a muscle in my back. I tore a muscle in my glute. I tore a muscle in my hamstring. I tore I ripped two muscles on the other side of my back. I was jacked up. He was like, "Dude," he's like, "You should have came in the day, like when
That
you
day.
first had that up." He's like, "You're jacked up." So for 6 months, I couldn't do nothing, man.
Your ego got you in some big trouble that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
uh, oof. Did you? Now you went to Cal State Long Beach. Did you play sports there?
Track and field. Yeah.
Oh, you were a student athlete.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you track and field high school. What did you do in track and field? Like what events?
I was a high jumper and a hurdler. So yeah, high school was kind of like that 4 for 4. I did the 4x4, 300 hurdles, high jump, long jump, or open four. And in college, 4x4, 400 hurdles, and high jump.
Do you think you would have gone to college if you like weren't recruited for sports?
Nah.
No, it's fair. It's fair.
Yeah, no. If it wasn't for that gave me incentive. Just growing up the way I grew up, I was just like, college. The black kids even go to college? Like straight up, that was my thought because no one talked about college to me.
They go to Cal State Long Beach. I know that.
Yeah, oh for sure. We got some athletes there. Right by Long Beach Poly, and then Long Beach Wilson and all that. And my coach, who I consider one of my heroes in my life. He taught me some hard lessons, man. But he always said like, track and field is a sport. It's a luxury, right? You're talented enough to run, but he's like, your education, he's like, somebody could take track and field from you. You can blow an ankle, you can blow a knee, and you're done. But no one can take your education away. And that really helped me, pursue college academically. I had a late start, but academically it helped me and to do better in sports, man. So I locked in and on homework. I locked in on my academics. I graduated at the top of my class. Dean's list all throughout college, honor roll all throughout college. And yeah, man. So both are equally important, especially for me.
How did you perform as like in your events?
You know what? It wasn't. Walnut was like no name school for athletics.
Well, I meant like in college that I just
yeah. So and that's why, because so my college was run of the mill, nothing special. I mean, I PR'd in a few things, but nothing special, because high school, we didn't get the training that we needed. And at one time, my high school track and field coach was every coach: sprint coach, jump coach, hurdle coach.
Yeah, you had no specializing.
Yeah, no specialty at all. So when I went to college, I had to walk on at Long Beach, and I walked on, and it was basically off pure talent. So I wanted to be a hurdler, high jumper. I tell this story sometimes when I speak to my kids or the kids. I was at Long Beach State, and I wanted to high jump. Now, the average high jumper at a D1 is 6'6".
6'6".
Yeah, 6'6". Average.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'7".
Okay.
Yeah, so I go to college. I go to my jump coach, or the jump coach, great coach by then, passed away, but a really, really good coach. Rest in peace, Coach Rada. And I say, I want to high jump. And he looks at me. He doesn't diss me, right? But he looks at me and goes, bro, this is college, man. We don't high jump for fun, right? And he's like, man, I think you should just stick to hurdles. So I'm a little heartbroken, because high jump was like my bread and butter.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It is.
There's some footage on the web that is not that hard to find of me high jumping poorly. That 3 feet, got it.
I'm gonna check that out, man. I'm gonna check that out. So I'm focusing on my hurdles, and in college, it's college is different. Like, you can be the shit in high school, right?
Yeah.
But once you go to college, everyone's the shit.
Yeah.
And like, I was okay in high school. I was okay. I was that middle of the pack for national 300 hurdlers. So in that top 50, top 75. So I was good, but I wasn't like standout. But we had some standout stars. Decathlete, that like national decathlete champion.
It's a Division I program, man.
Yeah,
that's right. That's regular.
Yeah, so it's business. It's business. So they didn't really give me what I needed, but I also didn't come in at a super high level because of high school. So I performed as best as I could. I pushed. We had a great coach, so on and so forth. But back to high jump. Long Beach used to have this inner squad meet. They call it black and gold meet, where, your inner squad, you get picked on the black team, you get picked on the gold team. You guys compete against each other. You can do whatever you want. So I decide I'm going to do high jump. All right. So without any practice, since my senior year in high school, I end up jumping like 6'5" or something like that. So right? Coach Rada comes up. He doesn't say nothing. He just comes up to me and goes, taps me on the shoulder, right? He goes, practice is on Tuesdays.
6'5". 6'5", for those who don't know, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. 6'5". I mean, for no practice at 5'7", 6'5", he's like, practice is on Tuesday. I end up jumping like 6'8". That was my PR. At like an inner squad, or no, excuse me, at a indoor meet and things like that. So it was cool, man. Like I had fun. It was cool. It was hard, but you got to clamp down and you got to make it happen.
Did you become a scholarship athlete?
They let me on the team. I had like a semi scholarship, but then I had a baby. So I quit track and field and worked on my worst decision I ever made. Not because I was having a baby or for my baby, but because being like, I want to say, when you have a kid, that first year, they're not doing anything. Right.
Yeah,
they're just,
if you say so.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're being babies. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I should have ran then And then when things start getting active, then so on and so forth. But it was a tough schedule, man. At the time, my girl was living in Riverside, and I was new to that 91 freeway. So going from Long Beach to Riverside, working full-time athlete, student full-time, and a full-time dad. It was a lot, man.
Yeah. It sounds, yeah, I get it. I understand why you would have quit. It's like, because it's like, I don't know what it's like for walk-ons while you were scholarship, but like at least for scholarship athletes, like it's a full-time job, at the Division I level, it's a full-time job.
Yeah. It's what you do. It's what you do, man. Everything is built around athlete.
You're really an athlete before a student too. And that's, they use the term student athlete so generously in a very technical sense. That is absolutely what it is.
Yeah.
It's not how you live your life, though.
No, it is not.
So since it's been since I know you got to hop off soon, I asked this one question to every person that comes on the pod, and I'm very curious to your answer.
LeBron James.
What is LeBron James? What is the best piece of advice you've ever received, and what is the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I've ever received is, it's cliche, but don't quit.
It can be cliche. Nothing wrong with that.
I think, it's that quote, it's my quote, life throws curveballs, but even curveballs can be hit for home runs. Although it's my quote, it's a community effort of advice, wisdom, and experiences all honed into one. So that's the best piece of advice I ever received is life throws curveballs, and it does. But does it matter what happens? Something good can come out of it. Something good can come out of it. So life throws curveballs, but even curveballs can be hit by home runs. Best piece of advice I've ever got or given. The worst piece of advice.
Worst piece of advice.
The worst piece of advice I've ever received. Man,
probably a lot of it.
I've received a lot. I think if I could be extremely honest, it would be to follow the program, right? To follow this American dream.
Horrible advice. Advice.
Go to college. As soon as you get done with college, you get married, have kids, and then work the rest of your life. So that's the worst piece of advice I've ever received. For real.
It's horrible advice. And I think, like, especially like you weren't going to grow on Friday. Those kids out there, they're pretty much all, or I'd say 90% of them are first generationers.
Mm-hmm.
So their parents are mainly immigrants from like Mexico and Vietnam. They're all in this boat of like high school, 4-year college, not community college, 4-year college. It has to be like top.
Yeah.
And then like work. And it's like not for, I'm sure for some people it is the move you should do. But for a lot of people, it's not.
No.
And they're following the program.
Yeah, that's the worst piece of advice, man. I couldn't, man. Like now that I've gotten a taste of what should be done, like I said, I love my children, but I wish I would have lived life just a little bit longer before I brought them into this world to where I didn't have to struggle to make sure they didn't struggle. That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Like I want my family and myself to thrive. I want to thrive. I want my kids to thrive.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids that get that, whether it's Garden Grove, whether it's Irvine, a lot of Beverly Hills, South Central, like people give that advice all the time, and they don't see it as kids. They don't see that mom is struggling and killing herself just to keep your head above water. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be in a boat chilling on the water, and then you can come along. So It's a smooth ride for everyone.
Yeah.
So, but if you're out there and you're listening and you are struggling, keep going. Your resilience is what's going to get you to where you want to go. And like I told, the students of Garden Grove, do what you need to do to get to where you want to go. And that's it.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Nah, I appreciate you, Max. Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for doing what you're doing, man. I love the podcast. I love the name. That's really cool.
It's literally what I do. So just annoying people. I have a lot of methods. I originally wanted to go up to you after the assembly, but you had like a lot of students kind of swarming you, and I was like, I'll just hope he responds when I reach out to him. And
I appreciate that. Man.
Whoever, I don't know if you run whoever your person, she is quick. She's like on the weekend, like she is fast with those responses.
That's one of her attributes for sure, man. And I'm just like, some people are just like, yo, I wasn't expecting a response until next week, and she's on it. So
she must be checking the email constantly.
Yeah. Oh, she's on it, man. She's amazing. She's definitely a godsend, and just has helped me out so much, man. So I appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate, you invited me and just listening, coming through, even though you didn't want to, and taking, some of what I said, hopefully inspired you as well, as a person, as a teacher, as an educator, as a fellow entrepreneur. So, respect is mutual, man, for real.
I really appreciate that. Where can we find you?
You can find me at I have a website that's www.deehankins.com. Instagram and Twitter is I am Dee Hankins, and YouTube, just type in Dee Hankins and it'll pop up over there. So yeah, man, I got merch store. I got, as a speaker, I speak all over the place, all over the country every year. So if you're watching this and, you want your students to be inspired, with resilience, or even you're having a tough time yourself, feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Yeah, reach out to them. There were students crying, and I noticed there were students crying in the bleachers. So yeah, Dee Hankins. You can just Google his name, just look him up on all places. I am Dee Hankins. He's there. And big thank you to my guest, Dee Hankins. Thank you to everyone who's watching. You can catch us on YouTube when it comes out, or every single podcast platform, all 36 of them. And other than that, everyone stay safe.
Oh, Max, man, you're funny, dude. We got to do this again, man.
Yeah, we will. I have no doubt.